Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, your go-to place for everything Rocket League with your hosts, K-Cube, AJ Binky, and Red. So lean forward, lock in, and get ready to go Boost Over Ball.
Live.
But before, like, we were just we were like in the starting soon screen, so there's no, like, it's just the like, maybe lo-fi music, maybe not I don't think it's
so now they can hear me?
Yeah, now they can hear you.
Oh.
They could not before, though.
Animal.
Oh.
I promise that.
Which audio input is it? VOD Ninja or Discord?
It's through Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the VOD Ninja muted. I need to talk to Pandy about pulling that in, because it probably would be better, but I'm lazy and don't want to do it.
I don't know if I can move that well in this suit. I'm kind of scared too.
Just give a. See what happens.
No, I'm good. This one still fits properly. The red one, I bought that red one like 15-20 pounds ago.
I'm surprised you don't have a custom like SSG one or something.
Yeah. Covered in tears.
People, call my people and we'll make that happen.
That's crazy. I like the NRG jersey. I just kind of noticed that. Is that one signed?
Justin and Garrett up here, and then there's a few more.
Okay.
Musty signed about the waistband.
Oh, we that's the one you're talking about. You're like, why did you sign it there?
Got
a musty.
Everybody else is like signing on the white part. He's like,
I'm gonna be different.
That shirt. Every time you go to pee, you'll remember me.
Yeah, the jersey that I have right here, the Renegades one, they couldn't find a Sharpie, so they signed like the inside part of the jersey.
Hey, take what you can get, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But
I wear my jerseys. I don't hang them. I like wearing them.
Yeah, I probably should. Could have wore that SSG camo one. I should have brought it. That would have been a good one.
See, I'm scared to do that because then I feel like it's glazing.
Oh, definitely it is. But we could have worn. I feel like I could have worn it after they got eliminated.
I was gonna say, as Red's walking around with his NRG jersey on the whole time, he's just a fan. He's just a fan.
I feel like as long as you don't do it during Swiss, I feel like you're fine.
Yeah.
Because it's just the players and the talent and the translators in the building, you know?
It'd be very awkward. Like, oh, you would.
Yeah, we're a pretty big population group.
Of the Swiss day, yeah.
It was one of me.
We got yelled
There
at.
were two of you.
He got there Friday night.
Oh, did he really?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
About the
Dude, they found him just working the venue.
Oh, yeah, the Mina translator? Yeah, that guy never did that before.
That's crazy.
No offense to that guy. There was a lot of times where, like, it was just very, very, very bad translation. You'd have to have us repeat because he stopped paying attention to the answers.
Also, I imagine there's probably like some really like Rocket League specific words, or like esports.
He didn't know EWC.
Yeah, esports specific words where he's like, I don't know what this is. But
I mean, he's not a translator by trade, but he did a good job for what it was.
It was that, or we sit there and just stare at the screen as Kaliers explains who he's thinking, and just clap.
Yeah. But we wanna do the damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle, K-Cube. In the top right, we have Snipes. And in the bottom, we have Quilly. Have you guys fully recovered yet from Raleigh, or are you still catching up on sleep?
Literally, I'm sleeping at work. So I'm just like, struggling.
Yeah, I get to work for the government, so we have most of this week off, which is awesome sauce. Because I've been waking up at like 11 a.m.
Love that. Well, today we'll be recapping the Raleigh Major, talking everything that happened in Raleigh, recapping the matches, talking about the storylines, talking about what some of the roster rumors that have taken place thus far, and talking about the event as a whole, and then we'll finish off with some thank yous to people. So first and foremost, for people who didn't see on the main broadcast, Snipes was the French translator for the event. You did some translating during Swiss. You did some translating on the main stage, all on the main broadcast. So first and foremost, how was that experience, and was that your first time translating?
Yeah, I was gonna say my other translating experience is like my grandpa who can't order when he's here. And that's just like reading a food item, so it was a little bit different. But I mean, it was like super nerve-wracking beforehand. Because I'm just worried that like the French stream is gonna hate me. But dude, like I've said it a million times, Leafex is the coolest dude of just like I'm super nervous. He's like, I don't even worry about it. Just like stand here, asks, layup questions for me to get, and I don't know. Once I got over the Swiss stage hump, even main stage, I like didn't even. I don't think I was nervous for main stage.
Like, did you register that there are like? Because I mean, the venue itself seats about 14 to 15,000 people, depending on some of the sweet stuff, and they did not have that many people, but it was probably close to 10,000 people. Did you register that there were that many people watching you, like in the venue when you were doing that, or kind of just did you just zone everything out?
On top of
I'm
the
gonna be honest.
30,000 live.
Yeah, it was. It was like I got lucky because the way the lights were on the stage, I couldn't really see out much into the crowd, to be honest. Um, and like all I was doing was like either looking at the camera or leave because I didn't want to just like, wow, all this for me, and then like forget what everyone said or something, and then just really awkward sounds like, yo, can you repeat that?
Too much in the moment.
I don't know. I didn't even like think about the crowd till afterwards. It happened so fast.
That was for the Vitality win, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
we're still good.
Sorry.
So I just looked it up. The Raleigh Major had a peak viewership of 218,700, and the peak viewership happened for the Dignitas Vitality match. So you probably the most people that were watching watched you translate that in addition. So it's like close to 220,000 people potentially saw you translate. How does that make you feel?
I didn't get any like hate messages. So honestly, it's just like a really cool bucket list experience.
Big win.
Where it's just like, yeah, maybe I'll never do that again. Maybe I'll never do it again. But I was already there. So like the numbers afterwards kind of settle in. Pandy was gaslighting me when I like took the job where he's like, dude, that could be a lot of people over the weekend. He was like breaking the numbers down to make me poop my pants or something. But it was awesome. Like I didn't really think about the number, more like the experience. Like I'd be more nervous with like a pro than like some person I've never met who's gonna say I sucked.
Fair. But so I mean, you were there. You have the talent badge. What was it like, kind of behind the scenes? Because I'm sure you got to talk to like Leafex, you know, more than most. You got to talk to a lot of the French players, I'm sure, and more so at least than they would talk to people who don't speak French. But what was that kind of experience like?
It's always so the way I equate it for like now the way I think of it about it with like media versus like playing. I used to play as a player and we did lands. It's kind of the same hump with like it takes a couple lands of meeting and being around the pros. This like to get used to it the same way that when you're playing at lands, it takes a couple of lands to like settle in and not be like super anxious. Because this is my second one, and aside from like a couple people, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to them, like whatever it is. You realize they'll just have any sort of conversation. They're obviously more comfortable with French speakers, which helps. But it is kind of surreal to be like asking things of the 0.000001% of the ranked population for the game.
Yeah, and it also doesn't hurt if they have had a few drinks, like on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, that last day is shout out Monkey Moon, man. Monkey Moon got dragged in there for like poor guy had been over and done for like 2 hours drinking in the VIP, and they're like, hey, dude, interview for Psionics or whatever.
Yeah,
glad I caught him. That's right. I got my picture.
Yeah, for the Blast Media, like they're writing an article about Worlds, and needed a French speaking player's opinion on it, and Monkey Moon did that.
Yeah.
But I mean, also shout out to, I think all of the French speaking players speak very good English, and they choose not to. They don't want to alienate their French fans. They want everybody to know, like, they want all their French audience to hear them speaking in French, which is awesome for them. But it helped with some very intriguing moments. Like Vatira came in to talk, and his friend was going to translate for him. No, I'm sorry, it was Monkey Moon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, "Do you need the French translator? He's here." In English, he said, "Yeah, no, my friend will do it," and then did the full interview in French. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that's fine."
Mm-hmm. No, Monkey Moon's hilarious because he speaks enough English to talk, and he has like 3 times in the same interview he'll flip whether he wants to do it in English or French, like based on his answers.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's got to be hard, right, to like not default to just your native language, even if you even if you hear the question in English. So
Yeah.
I can imagine it's probably a learned skill, and like especially someone like Monkey Moon who has won a few world championships and has won a few lands in his time, so he's pretty properly media trained, but like not all of them are.
Yeah. And I mean, I was gonna say Monkey Moon's probably done some of the most interviews, but it's also, I mean, you want to build like your fan base. You want to talk to an English speaking fan base and your French speaking one. So I can kind of see where you would alternate and then comfort. And a lot of times, I mean, everybody's just people. It's like in the moment, what do you want to do more?
Yeah. But with that, I'm sure it was an awesome experience. Is there anybody that you wanted to shout out or thank for any of that stuff before we jump into talking some ball?
Daniel Byrne, obviously, the person who hired me,
Fair.
like very last second. So thank you for that opportunity. I'll always say shout out Leafex because that guy, like I said, coolest guy on talent.
Also, that
for
man
me, and
just
then
has the script.
yeah, that's insane. He was it like Friday?
Yeah,
We
Friday
were like
during
hanging
the
out
day.
watching in the player area, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, Furia loses first round tomorrow in top 8. Ultimates gets knocked out of
No,
Swiss."
KC lose first round tomorrow.
Yeah,
Secret wins game 5 OT. Like, I just have the script. Sorry, guys.
yeah.
I was
And then it like watch that unfold, and he's like, "And I can't tell you what happens on Championship Sunday, but it's pretty nuts." And then
and then he goes,
the
and
most
also, take out your pens and pencils. KC's winning Worlds, and they're not dropping a series.
he did say that. He did say it's going to be a bloodbath for Worlds. So if the script sticks, go French fans.
He better go
FBI
into
might be
hiding.
on
That's all I
Leaf.
gotta say. Yeah.
FBI might be on him.
Yeah. Oh my god. But with hey, thanks for the follow. That's but time to talk some ball. I'm just going to run through some of the Swiss results first, and then we can kind of go through and talk about it. Our 3-0 teams were Team Falcons and Vitality. Our 3-1 teams were NRG, Dignitas, and Gentle Mates. Our 3-2 teams were Carmine Corps and Twisted Minds. And Team Secret, I'm sorry. 2 and 3 were the Ultimates, Gen G, and Furia. 1 and 3 were TSM, Space Station, Virtus Pro. And our 0 and 3 teams were Wildcard and Foot. So, Quilly, I'll start with you. Biggest surprises, both good and bad.
Out of just the teams that got eliminated?
Out of Swiss, like from Swiss.
Out of Swiss altogether.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, the obvious, can't stress enough obvious one. Team Secret was the biggest surprise. The team that I think we had in either the 15 or the 16 spot in our power rankings. We had zero hopes for him after a abysmal first land in Birmingham. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, Birmingham.
I get Birmingham and Copenhagen.
Birmingham.
But in Birmingham, yeah, they were definitely an insane bounce back team, and another huge surprise in a bad way. It's gotta be the Ultimates. Oh my gosh. I'm sure KQ will have enough to say on that for it via his disdain for one first killer. But yeah, that those two are I think those are the most obvious ones. Yeah, sleeper one. TSM didn't do as bad as I thought they would.
Okay. Snipes, what do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. My biggest surprise, like the one that stands out the most out of all of them, for me is Furia 11th. Like we expect so much from Furia. I think going into this, we said they'd lost 3 series the entire like RLCS up to this point, including the last major where they lost their only 2.
I think everyone unanimously
going into this.
I think everyone unanimously power ranked them like top 4, top 5.
Yeah, like Furia was a like debatably 3-0 guaranteed getting through, and you look at their results, they went 1-6 against Europe. They lost in game 5 to, a Twisted Mind teams that ended up getting pretty hot, so good for Twisted Minds. It's I don't know. It's very disappointing. They went 6-0 against the minor regions and then could not win.
3-9 against MENA and EU.
Yeah. Not what you'd expect from the 1 seed from Sam, who just finished top 4. Other than that, Secret overperforming was great. I think we forget too, like, Secret going into that round 5 against Ultimates had only beat Wildcard and TSM. Like, their wins were very like layup. They lost to Falcons as they should have, lost to Carmine as they should have, although it was game 5.
They were close. They were close with Carmine.
Yeah, and then they beat Ultimates, which was the good win. Ultimates just seems weird to me. In hindsight, Carmine was a good win, but like the Space Station win isn't as impressive. They didn't take a game from Falcons. They took one off Gentlemates. Even the fact that they got reverse swept, it just didn't seem like a great lane for them besides that 1 4-game stretch.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I would tend to agree. It's kind of interesting to see Team Secret OCE killers. In this one, you know, they beat both OCE teams. They, like, the one thing to me, like, I look back and I was talking to Harmonic, and I said, who do you think's winning? He said Falcons. Like, no one's talking about Falcons. They just look like they've been on cruise control the entire time. They dropped 1 game in Swiss to Secret. They swept Dig, and they swept the Ultimates. Granted, that's a really tough draw for Dignitas and the Ultimates, but, like, man, they were cruising, and people were not talking about them. Like, I mean, they lose game 1 of the event 1-0 to Secret, and then they didn't lose another game until Championship Sunday, I believe. Yeah, they dropped 2 games to NRG, and then 1 game to Dignitas in the finals.
Yeah, Falcons was scary, and it's also like because we were there in the room, dude. Falcons is strictly business. Like, they show up, they have like a couple family members watch the games. Boom, win, walk straight off. Because obviously they didn't have a translator, so no interviews. They were just boom, straight back to the grind. And so we really didn't get to like view much of them, especially since I think 2 of their series were on side stream. I think 2 of their first 3 were on side stream, so we didn't really realize the big one was on mainstream, but they were brutalizing people. I think I forget who it was. They played, was it 25 games on LAN? And they gave up 20 goals, and 18 games had 1 goal or less. You want to talk about, that's maybe the most dominant run at a LAN ever.
Yeah. And, like, of the teams, like, so, like, we got to be, you know, we were fortunate enough, we got to go to the closed audience days, and some teams are very loud, some teams are very, you know, like, players are very loud, like, Rise comes to mind, Furia comes to mind. They're very, you know, they make it known when they score, when something good happens. Normally, Rise is taunting the other team. However, this LAN, it kind of seemed like he was more just hyped for his own team, which was a little bit different, but cool to see. Furia, always known for being loud. Falcons, you don't really see it. You see a couple fist bumps, maybe in an overtime win, maybe like a nice, but, you know, not obviously in English. But very muted, very, like, even keel the entire time. I didn't really see much emotion from them until after they won. Which,
yeah, it was almost like homicidal the way they were playing the game.
Yeah. Oh my god. But also, I mean, we can't get too far talking about Swiss before we talk about the Ultimates. With wins over Space Station and KC, you're kind of thinking, oh my god, they may be a 3-0 team. Like, that KC win looked like it was going to be a phenomenal win. And then you draw Falcons and you go 3, you draw Mates and you go 1-3, and then round 5 against Secret, you're thinking, okay, this might be one of the easier of the round 5 matchups. Like, you know, they should go through, and they just don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I shout out to Vinny, the Team Secret manager. We were all watching in the Swiss area, crowded around one of the TVs with Leafax when he made that prediction, and we were screaming when Secret was going on their run. The stage manager had to come out and tell us, like, hey guys, they can hear you on stream, like, please be quiet. But, like, man, what a series, what a game. You know, so I notably have not been a First Killer admirer, but, you know, in that series especially, like, I realistically don't know what he could have done differently. Like, he was playing phenomenally. He was beating 1-2 guys almost every time.
I was gonna say, he was trying to go takeover mode at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, virtually was. His teammates just kept letting him down.
It's
Chronic and LJ, I mean, for what it's worth, it wasn't their best performance. But I mean, it's a team thing. They all take the loss because they all lose together. It doesn't get pointed on one person. So
yeah,
it was just the ultimates all around. It was just a bad. I think all three of the wins for Team Secret were in overtime as well.
mhm.
So it was literally coming down to one goal to could have swayed this a series the entire way. I feel like it could have. They went down 2-1 to go off the start, so it seemed like they had that plot armor that they were coming back and making it a game 5 and get that to overtime. Like you said, watching with Vinny, it was the most conflicting thing ever because obviously we want NA to win, but sitting there with Vinny, we want him to win because he was so emotionally invested. He wanted to see that win so badly, and happy for Vinny. So sad for NA.
Yeah, I don't know. The secret loss was bad. The turning point for them was definitely Game 3 Gentlemates when they were up, 2 goals with 10 seconds left or 9 seconds left.
And Mates
and they
won
lose
in
that
regulation. Yeah.
Yeah, win in regulation, and then win the next one. Because how do you come back from that? Which I think it was an OT Game 4, but
They won it straight up.
if they had won that game and just closed out that series, whether it was in 4 and 5, we would be looking so differently at their team. Like the whole narrative would shift to just beat up Space Station, beat Carmine, lose to Falcons, who eventually goes on to win it. So who cares? And you beat Gentlemates, you would have a very impressive record, and you would have started in the upper bracket.
Yeah.
Probably knocking down Dignitas, I think, is who they would have knocked down. So, or at least Gentlemates, but they could have jumped to a 4 seed, and who knows then, right? They would have gotten an early Falcons rematch, and anything could have happened. But
Yeah, and Mates won that Game 4 in regulation.
yeah, that was it was close. It was a 1-goal game,
Yep.
if I remember, because the first Killer Heroics just came up short. But
Yep.
dang.
So I mean, maybe it's you have to transition a little bit from Fraud Killer to maybe it's First Killer led teams. Maybe there's something about it that's just tough for him. I mean, LJ has still yet to win a regional. LJ is still yet to win a major. First Killer still yet to win a major. Chronic has won one, but I don't know what the solution is or what has to happen. But when the lights are the brightest, for some reason that a team that First Killer is on just cannot put it all together. So.
Yeah. I don't know. You're saying, Quilly?
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's necessarily like a playstyle thing. Obviously, their playstyle was good enough to beat Carmine Core. Maybe they lost confidence after because they equated Falcons with Carmine Core and then thought like, oh, why can't we get anything going against them? We just did something good against a similar team, and they just lost confidence from that. It's just in these super, super late stressful games in the past, like split and a half. It was the same thing when they lost to Carmen in the last finals. They just start playing weird when it looks like they're losing. First Killer starts playing that takeover style where it's like, oh, maybe sometimes as a coach you want to see them do whatever you guys plan for the whole way through and see what happens. But they I don't know.
They kind of
switch a little bit.
They default to him. And
yeah,
he beats 1 or 2 guys, sometimes even 3, but then it's like, okay, well, he's beaten 2, put it off the backboard for someone, and there's just no one there.
Yeah, it's just hard to play for.
Yeah, because they're giving him space to do what he needs to do, and it's like he's trying to facilitate by beating 1 or 2 guys, and then they've given him space, so there's no one to follow up. It feels weird. Because,
yeah, I mean,
they played Carmine, and they were lights out. Like, they just looked so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Carmine playing bad is a whole different thing. We could talk about Carmine for a while. It's just like so many RLCS teams, especially the good ones, are playing this like hyper possession style where they're so focused on possession and taking good 50s and blah 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 and all this. And it's hard when you're like the teammates when First Killer all of a sudden is like, okay, but what if I like took riskier solo plays and just tried to beat everyone, which it can work obviously, but like shifting your whole rotation at an RLCS level mid-game, mid-series to fit that is difficult.
How about I just ego and solo everything?
Almost worked.
It did almost work, which is crazy. But also, I have to say, shout out to Team Secret. I did not have Sam number 2 making top 8 on my bingo card. Also, RIP to NA for a double friendly fire. NA was 2 round 1, and then we had Space Station versus Gen G in round 4, and that ultimately eliminated Space Station. So 2 of Space Station's 3 losses were to NA, which is rather unfortunate for them.
Which is kind of tragic too, because you think they would prefer NA with how like young they are and on LAN. Like playing teams you're used to, you'd think would be a bonus, especially with how good they did this split. And then like those are the games they lost.
I mean, for what it's worth, Gen G also faced 2, so one of them had to go 0-2 against NA, and one of them had to go 1-1.
Yeah, that's true.
It was kind of just work like a crap end of the stick.
Gen G has Justin right there. Justin.
I mean, awesome to see Justin back on LAN, right? Even if it was only for the Swiss days, I'm sure that he was happy to kind of get the monkey off his back there, so to speak. But that's kind of what we got there. But
Monkey Moon reference.
Oh yeah.
Are we gonna talk about how wildcard? Are we losing? Are we selling all stock in them and never just having?
Has anyone ever bought OCE stock?
Birmingham. I think wildcard had some stock bought in them.
They won 1 game.
They almost beat K Corp off rip. They were one
wildcard. They played Furia.
No, they played K Corp for round 1, and they lost in round 5.
Oh, you're talking about Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was the only time they had stock bought on them, and then they had all faith lost in them. It was like, all right, show us something, and then 0-3.
OCE won 2 games this split that weren't against Foot.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Foot should have had wins this
late. They went 1-9 if you remove the Foot wins.
Although I will say, so here, and this is rough for us. So we power ranked 3 weeks ago. We power ranked the 16 teams at the major, and we had KC, NRG, Falcons, Dignitas, Ultimates, Vitality, Furia, Space Station, Twisted Minds, Gentle Mates, Gen G, Virtus Pro, Wildcard, Foot, Secret, TSM. So that bottom part was not bad. TSM, Secret, Foot, Wildcard, like that's not the worst, except Secret should not have been there in reality, but Virtus Pro, Wildcard, Foot, and TSM being at the bottom, I think is fair. We probably, like in this case, we had, KC, the Ultimates, and Space Station too high, but I mean, to be fair, like I still think Space Station has one of the highest like peaks of any team right now. I just think that the floor is like not at all where it needs to be. They're not consistent enough to be good, like to be that good. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But like realistically for them, this and EWC are like practice lands, right, for Worlds. So hopefully you can get some of the nerves out of the system and really show up like firing on at least more cylinders than they were on before. Because I was looking at the wrong thing. They took 1 game against the Ultimates, Mates, and Gen G. Like you had to do a little bit better than that. Really, their only win was a game 5 against Foot.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know, maybe 2 lands is what they need to like get over whatever mental hump it is for them. I don't know. It's hard to say how their playstyle stacks up on the international stage because we've seen it once on the international stage, and I didn't hear much about them in scrims. As far as like, I heard a lot of information about scrims from other teams regarding other teams, and Space Station's name never came up. I just don't know how well that style works. Internationally.
I mean, to be fair though, against Foot, 4 of the first 5 games were overtime. So like they very easily could have swept, but also they probably should not have gone to overtime in the first place. But
they also could have lost.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Like that.
I mean, how much of it can you chalk up to nerves though? Being a first land for all 3 of them, not just play style being an issue. Because it's a whole different environment. You're not playing from the comfort of your bedroom, and they are all kids at the end of the day. So a lot of things could be factored into it, but regardless, the outcome was just far from good. Far from good.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they'll adjust. It's just how many lands is it going to take, and do they stick together long enough to get over like the mental hump to where we can actually see how the playstyle plays out?
A lot of it, and also you could tell based off of how NA did, maybe just NA's playstyle in general was just horrible
Yeah.
for this lane.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why you bring in X-Pair, right? Like, he did it with Team Liquid. They were a young team that stuck together for, 3 seasons, I think? And, they won a regional. They kind of got over it a little bit. They had a top 4 at a major, but that's about it. I mean, that's kind of, in my eyes, that's why you bring in X-Pair for such a young team, where it's like, okay, he's been there, done that with Team Liquid, but, they didn't reach the pinnacle by any means. So I'm interested to see if it's, I'm sure that there's some land jitters, but maybe it's, something with X-Pair. I mean, we won't know until we have a larger sample size. And again, Snipes, like you said, maybe they don't stick together. Like, I have no idea. Like, I just kind of feel like if you don't win, like, even if you do win, right? Like, everybody's just going to make moves, like, regardless, because that's how you stay on top.
Yeah, it's hard to judge like all rookie teams, because if you look at it, almost no one is incentivized to stick together, especially with how much play styles get figured out and shifted. The only teams that's kept the same roster this year are NRG and Falcons, and to be fair, right now that's my top 2 in the world. But like everybody else made swaps, so like, and SSG, you're not going to do good enough to not warrant a swap when the entire world is. But it's just one of those things, unless we see it at EWC and then at Worlds, like the final version of what their style can be on LAN, we might never get to see that trio fully realized.
Yeah.
Especially with how fast they were ready to pull the trigger on Frosty there. It seems like SSG wants results, and if they're not seeing them, they're not afraid to make the moves necessary.
Yeah, I mean, historically, they've done that for the last, 3 years. Like, no name has been safe, really.
And
like, literally, not even by your name. Shout out Riddles.
Also, I don't know how much of that, and it's never going to be confirmed, right? Because we're not in the conversations, but like, it kind of seems like it's more of a personal issue with Frosty, right? Because he was on Energy, and then they dropped him before the season started. He was on Space Station. He played for a split, and then they dropped him. So Kofor ended up being a better fit, in my opinion, than Frosty was, but I think Frosty is more mechanically inclined than Kofor is. At least to some extent, right? But I don't know what that will be, because it's kind of looking like that complexity roster is definitely not sticking together. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, complexity might jump back to Sam or something. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think Frosty and Reveal are more comparable as players. I think their play styles are more similar, and I think Frosty's off the field issues, as he's been dropped by 2 teams now, possibly going to be 3. That Reveal was the safer choice, and it seems like they all mesh together well in terms of online play.
Even if he doesn't know how to stand in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one's ever going to find out about that, because that interview will never see the light of day.
Yeah, which is good for them. What's it called? I don't know. I don't want to attribute it preemptively to off the field issues too, because we can say on the field issues, the results for Frosty teams haven't been great. Like, he got replaced on NRG. I think they ended up doing better, although it was marginal because that roster wasn't great anyways. It was an aging Garrett, right? But then, like, this season they replaced him and they just did better on the field. I don't know. It's hard to judge, but it was just an upgrade at the end of the day.
Yeah. But so for Swiss teams by region heading into the top 8 were 1 NA team, 4 EU teams, 2 MENA teams, and 1 SAM team. Can't say that I really expected Twisted Minds or Secret to be the teams that made it, but congratulations to them. They played fantastically, and they definitely deserved it. Before we talk about the playoff matches, it's not exactly in order, but what did you think, and we could talk about this briefly, what did you think about the First Touch Chalkcast show match? Electric Boogaloo, number 2, a third one I'm sure is going to happen at some point because they have to.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Jorius, Gibbs has shot of the land.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's up there.
Unironically, that was the second best shot of the entire land. Like, that was actually a pretty great redirect.
He peaked, man. He peaked. Words can't describe it.
So for people who didn't watch or tuned out, they did another First Touch Chalkcast show match, and with Johnny Boy staying in EU to do a watch party, Gibbs filled in for him, and hit potentially the shot of the tournament, or at least top 5, for sure, including all of the RLCS games that happened on a redirect from, I believe it was from Garrett.
Near post.
Yeah.
I think I saw something from Rocket League that of every social media post they put out during the weekend, 2 of the top 3 were Gibbs, like Gibbs related.
Yes. The people love Gibbs.
People love Gibbs. The problem with the show match, I think it went way better than the first time they did it at
Yes.
Worlds, obviously, because at Worlds, tech issues, water bottles on computers, getting up to go in other people's faces, which is awesome. I just wish it, had taken 55 minutes to play 2 games. But the problem is, how do you ever balance this show match again? Like, Garrett is so clear. Like, if Garrett is trying, this show match is never going to be close. He has 600 MMR in the entire lobby. You tried Gibbs as the third for CJ Garrett. That is, no offense to Gibbs, that's pretty low as far as how low you can go, and it wasn't even that close.
No. I thought that, I was like, okay, they brought Gibbs in. Like, that should, like, maybe even the playing field a little bit. Because, like, I mean, Roldiz, former pro, T-Bates, Daz, both played, high-level CRL.
All have been SSL.
Yeah.
Not Daz, but I think T-Bates and Roldiz have both been SSL.
Yeah. Like,
much more balanced team.
They're good players, but, I mean, Garrett, I think if Garrett wanted to still be pro, he still could be.
Yeah, he could be getting a check pretty easily on an NA team. That's just rough, dude. Like, I think we saw it would be like kind of close, and then Garrett or CJ would just be like, "We're gonna put the ball in the air now."
Yeah,
and then it hurt.
Yeah, and CJ is a former pro, still pretty good at the game, and Gibbs was an all-time goalie. So if that helps you out, helps everyone out, that's what his claim to fame was.
Poor guy got demo chased in net.
Poor guy.
That may have been the loudest the crowd was all weekend for Gibbs getting demoed and Gibbs with the redirect.
They were ready to mob Daz on stage. How dare you?
How dare you touch Gibbs?
Yeah, I saw something where his kids were watching the show match. That was awesome. I think it was like a tweet.
Yeah, he tweeted it.
Yeah, so his wife was still at home. Like, took a picture of, like, the kids watching the show match. That's awesome, dude. He got to peek on the main stage for his kids.
Yeah, that's talk about a lifetime moment. First off, they need to sell that shirt because that was phenomenal. His Chalked Cast shirt
with the sensational.
Yeah. So he tweeted, "It was truly a special day. My boys watching me win on LAN," which is crazy. And then they made signs for him in the next tweet when he got home, and it was like of him playing on the stage, which is awesome to see for him. I'm sure that was probably a peak moment for him.
Yeah, especially it's nice to see the families.
Yeah, especially because that may be an all-time peak moment.
That's a good gaming highlight, and then you put it in the context of like tens of thousands of people watching, and you haven't played on a stage in 10 years. Like, what?
Yeah, so I mean, he did an interview with Chalked Cast, and he has always been a professional gamer, right? So he was telling a story about like him beating up on someone in the Halo tournament, like some 12-year-old kid, and like just destroying him for a money tournament. And I'm like, that I feel like that seems about right. But I mean, Gibbs is 38, and he peaked on everyone in that lobby.
Some previous stud collegiate players got smoked. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you see? I'll have to see if I can find it. Did you see the RL Esports tweet that was like the highest performers on LAN? And
he's undefeated.
Yeah, Gibbs was like number 1. He had like the highest goal participation, highest shooting percentage, like biggest score per game. I'm like, I mean, it's a small sample size, but I was like, that's crazy. What a
legacy player.
No, absolutely. But. And then the other thing that we'll talk about before we jump into the playoffs, our 1v1 match. Dear God, Nubo looks unstoppable.
Yeah. I don't know. This is like... this final is going to be the equivalent of like Magnus Carlsen versus AI, like Stockfish.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Nubo is the limit of like subtle, creative, like mastermind. Or Nobu, sorry. And then Moxie's just like a computer. and it
Oh my
doesn't matter, like, no matter what you input, he's going to spit out like the best possible counter to it every single time, every game.
The flicks are automatic with Moxie too, and so it's going to be like we saw him play like more aerial plays than I've ever seen him play against Yan
Yeah.
in Birmingham, and now you have Nubo, who by all rights can play like that, but we also saw him with a lot of ground plays against Diaz. But man, he was a machine against Diaz, and I thought Diaz was going to take it. I thought, I like the way Diaz was playing, but man, this is going to be, obviously it's going to be the biggest 1v1 matchup ever because it's, for the World Championship, especially for Moxie in front of his home fans. But man, I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know who I would pick for this right now.
If I had to pick right now, I'd say Nobu, just because I think Moxie, I want to say he's going to get nervous, but then he also should have been nervous for his first ever LAN, and he went to like 7 and clutched up, so it doesn't really get more nerve-wracking than that. He also went to 7 against Raleigh on mainstream just to qualify for that.
Yeah, Moxie almost got reverse swept by Yan.
Yeah, like they're very close the whole way. I don't know, man. I just wouldn't bet against Nobu right now.
No, I
The
wouldn't.
thing I would bet on is if you could bet on demos, take the over, because the air dribble bumps will be farmed the entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, for people curious, on the stage, they asked how he would like his name pronounced, and he said Nobu. So that is why we are saying that. It's Nopo, Nupo, Nope, Nuepo, however you pronounce it before. He said he would like Nubo, so that's why we are saying it that way. But with that, we've gotten the stuff out of the way. Let's talk about playoffs. First series, first crowd day. Half the stands were in the merch line. The other half was at the NRG booth. Talking to Garrett or talking to anybody who was there. Twisted Minds reverse sweep Carmine Corrier, defending major champions, out of the tournament. Like, Casey's only 2 wins were overtime games. Like, it very easily could have been a much, easier series for Twisted, but man, they came on in a hurry.
I think even game 6, Raleigh had a horrific touch where he dropped it straight down to Nobu, I believe it was, who was just sitting right underneath with it, just read it and just walked into the net uncontested because it was just a bad touch. Raleigh, not only this series, the entire LAN, unfortunately, dropped his stock tremendously. He had a horrible outing. Toe was hitting some insane clips. He had that one double off the wall from an insane angle far left. Tao and Vatir were doing all they could, but unfortunately wasn't enough. It really didn't seem like it was really going to happen until it was finally finished, because as we know, K-Corp plot armor just goes diabolically insane. But yeah, that entire series, watching that live and in person, and watching K-Corp just get quieter and quieter as the series goes on, and the look of defeat. I can only imagine the amount of anger going on in Farah's head, because that is one scary man.
I was looking at some of the stats for this game, and Casey played way more physical than I have seen them before. Vatira had 20 demos, Atau had 18, and Drali had 9. Which, it's a part of how they play because they play so fast. But Rise took 19 demos. That's insane. Nubo took 16 and Atomic took 12. Like, how is this so close when the team isn't even on the field half the time?
I don't know, and it's one of those things too. If you took a poll of like teams least likely to get reverse swept in all of Rocket League in any setting, Carmine would be the overwhelming favorite. Of like, they're too talented, they're the best coached, like there's no way they don't adjust. I don't get it. Like, that's why I'm super hesitant on Carmine, is because everything you're supposed to be good at should have won you that game on 4 attempts. like something went seriously wrong for them to not win. And like Quilly said, I don't think Raleigh had a great land, but it kind of felt like whatever role they were having him play was just didn't work.
It kind of felt like they tried to switch it up.
But they like simplified him down to like, hey, never take a bad 50. Like, don't take any risk ever. We want you to play the most possession Rocket League possible. It's like, that's cool and all, but
that's not who
you guys
Raleigh
don't
is.
need that. You're the most talented team in the world. You can kind of just lay it on teams, to be honest.
I mean, it almost felt like they put him on a leash.
Yeah. I just didn't want him to be too creative or take risks. And that, I don't know.
Usually he's pulling the way above the crossbar, trying to hit the double off the wall with the most impossible angle, but I don't even think I saw him attempt that once. And also the K-Corp timeout buff, I think statistically one of the best after timeout teams to still lose out after that, lose 2 straight. Again, the overtime. So it could have gone either way, but all that matters is who gets the win, and Twisted Mind did it, and it was an insane win in insane fashion to do it.
Yeah. That bottom half of the bracket was super fun. And in hindsight, even if Carmen Core had won that, with the way they were playing, there was not a chance they were making it out of the lower half of that bracket. Like they had to play NRG and Falcons after that. That's a gauntlet.
I mean, I even think that, moving forward, right, and we haven't talked about NRG yet, but I think that if Carmine Core won that game, like, let's say they limped out in Game 7, I don't think they take NRG to 7 the way they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with Farah, you never truly know. They could have just, said, okay, fuck it, we're doing what we did before, and we're just going to go win the whole damn thing, because they can do that, but...
Yeah, you would have thought they would have made that adjustment for this game, though.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
There was no reason to not take it serious against Twisted Minds.
Not at all. But... yeah, so a very, very weird event from KC. Congratulations to Twisted Minds. Great win. Rise stays undefeated against his former teammates, which is still unbelievable with the amount of different teams that he's played on.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat. But we move into the second series, which, I think both of these series maybe they're both top 5 series of the entire event. And they happened back to back. And still half the arena was in the merch line and the other half was at the NRG booth. So, but you have Team Secret taking down Gentle Mates in 6. Mates win game 1. Team Secret wins 3 straight, even through a timeout buff. Mates win game 5, and Secret takes it in 6. Vinny was going crazy. Congratulations again to the Team Secret boys making a top 6. That's unfortunately the last game that they were able to take was that game 6, but nonetheless, I think that they looked really, really good, and they. I was talking to Vinny when we were doing the interviews, and I said, "GK needs to thank you guys," and he said they already tweeted us and DM'd us. Thank you so much for that. I said they better be a Team Secret fan account now, because with that loss, GK has secured their spot in the World Championship main event, and Gentle Mates has been relegated to a last chance qualifier opportunity.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be tough.
It certainly will.
Yeah, I mean, the Secret, I think that win was huge too, because it kind of, well, one, maybe the Ultimates fans don't feel as bad. Good luck with that.
The copium.
But Secret went from, scraping out wins against bad teams and then happening to catch Ultimates off to they went and won a game on a Saturday. They went and won a crowd game day in their first crowd game day, ever. 4-2 against the Gentlemates team that was pretty hot coming into this. They Gentlemates is competitive with every team in the world, basically.
I mean, they beat Foot, they beat Space Station, they beat the Ultimates. So say what you want about Foot and Space Station, but I think that Ultimates game in round 4 was a very losable series for Gentlemates, depending on how they showed up. But
yeah. And even in EU, they made a couple finals or something this player. They've at least been much more competitive. So that's their best win at the tournament. Obviously, it's their top 8 win. So
and also
it is
Yujin rookie land too.
Yeah, which Yujin played great, all things considered.
Yes, he did.
As far as rookies go, I forget who we were talking to, but there's a few LAN rookies in there. The ones with veterans next to them did significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, Secret first, and not LAN rookie because Swift made the last one, but first game against on a crowd day for Swift.
Mhm.
But again, you make the point, right? So like this secret run is very reminiscent to me of the crew run in San Diego, where they made a top
Yeah.
6, but that was a that was a Mata KV1 Brad team,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Shut up, Brad.
the homie Brad, which is so funny because his real name is Pedro, so I don't know where the Brad comes from, but
Perfect.
whatever. But so Swift first time on a crowd day, Yujin land rookie, all of Space Station land rookie. I think that's it in terms of land rookies.
Isn't Stizzy a land rookie?
His first in-person crowd rookie.
Yeah, because they
days. I don't know
made
if you count
Swiss
Permian.
first split, but they didn't qualify through the crowd.
Okay.
It
But
depends what we consider land, because technically all of Team Secret's rookies at that point.
no, KV1
no.
and Mata made top 6 in San Diego.
Yeah. They also if any of them were on like the club or the crew days back in 2022, they made it pretty far as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Or they
talking
would have
about.
been
That crew
crowd,
team
yeah.
in San Diego in 2022, I believe. But yeah, so congratulations to Secret on making a top 6. And then, I mean, I feel like we have to talk about the upper bracket quarterfinals, but I feel like there's not really a whole lot to talk about. Is Falcon sweep Dignitas and Vitality sweep NRG. In those series, especially, clearly the better two teams won. In my personal opinion, it was not close for Falcons Dignitas. And NRG, although they made it close in a couple of games, it was almost like they didn't start playing until like a minute and a half left in the game. I don't really know what happened there, but they just did not look themselves.
Yeah, they had some ups and downs. I just think that wasn't a great series for them. And it's kind of hard when, like, I mean, they have phones, right? The last thing they saw before they went to bed on Saturday, and the first thing they saw when they woke up was a billion NA's last hope. Yo, please win tomorrow. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then hearing, screams the whole time. So they had the most pressure on them of any team in the tournament. And, sometimes you start slow. And Vitality's like the opposite. That's like the most veteran tournament winning, like, we don't care about the crowd team in the event.
Well, that's NA Zen.
It's also NA Monkey Moon.
Yeah, that's
Monkey Moon is one heck of a beast.
And
in,
also
the North American region.
After having a couple of drinks, had said, "I love playing in NA." We're like, "Yeah, of course you fucking do, because you always
I love
win."
It. I win here all the time. This is great. I love this region. Damn you, Dinkelberg.
It's just screaming at Monkey Moon.
NA fans everywhere falling to their knees.
So also we were at an undisclosed location singing some karaoke on Sunday at the after party, and Monkey Moon and Sathu went up to do karaoke and sang and rickrolled everyone.
Yep.
And like halfway through the song, we're sitting there. I'm like, wait a minute, did we just get rickrolled by Sathu and Monkey Moon? I think we did.
That's insane. I think that's the most viewed clip like in all of Rocket League right now is that video. And the best part is that man Monkey Moon has torn away two world championships from Sathu. Not one, but 2 world championships he's ripped from his hands, and they are still just having a good time singing together.
It's like a $600,000 robbery in that video.
just to rickroll all of us.
That's crazy.
Never gonna give you up.
But he's always gonna let us down.
Yeah, in the end, it just hurts so bad.
Every time, same shit,
he's
different
gonna make
day.
Us cry.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
NRG got their bounce back.
That's the script for Worlds, right? NRG make grand finals and Monkey Moon wins again.
I'd find a different esport. Valorant seems pretty fun. A lot of different winners in that.
Rematch. Sign me up.
Rematch. Yeah. You guys are already losing somebody on this podcast for that game.
Yeah, I know.
Tragic.
Well, here we go. But moving into lower quarters, we have Dignitas sweeping Team Secret out of the event, and 2 1-goal games, including an overtime. But I just feel like Secret was never really in that series.
Yeah.
I think they just got outclassed. I think Dignitas, especially Joria's. Oh my God, Joria's had a phenomenal Sunday.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
He played great. Dig was so weird.
He was looking like Swiss Jorias.
I know Swiss Jorias on a Saturday.
Yes.
Any day that starts with S is normally not a Jorias day.
Yeah, that was a Sunday match for him.
Wait, balled out on Saturday too. Oh, never mind. They got off forward.
I mean, he still played well, but Falcons just looked so good.
It's hard to say you played great against Falcons. Yeah, it's like Dig. I don't know how to explain it. Like outside of Falcons, they dropped like one game the entire event, or like 2 games, and then they played Falcons 11 times and went 1-10. It's that's gonna hurt.
So they dropped 1 game to Gen G and 2 games to Carmine and Swiss. And then in the bracket, they dropped 1 game to Vitality and then lost to Falcons.
Yeah, so they won what? 9.
They dropped 4 games.
17-4 against everyone else, and then they went 1-10. They almost went like negative on the land. They went 18-14.
Yeah,
in the finals.
That's so crazy. But yeah, I mean, Joria's looked phenomenal against Secret, and like the kind of the eye test for me is if Appjack's one of the fastest players on the field, Dignitas are doing well. Yeah. Like that's really what it just seems to be. And I don't know if he's the motor on the team, but man, if Appjack is cruising, they are routing teams. Because Stizzy is like they're almost sitting back. They're like, especially against Secret, they just had 2 guys on the backboard and they just counterattack, and the solo plays were working and they were out in force for Dignitas.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they were dominant against everyone else. Like that Vitality team going into that Vitality series against Dig, we thought Dig was, no offense, like Dig was more of like a layup compared to the Falcons and RG matchup. We were like, dude, Vitality's been destroying teams this event. Like they 4'd in RG, they 3-1 Furia. I forget, they had a couple other like good results in there.
They swept TSM, they beat Furia 3-1, they beat NRG 3-1, and then they swept NRG again in bracket.
Yeah, like
they dropped 2 games. 2 games.
Yeah. 2 games going into that series, and then they just got boomed by Dig. And I don't know. Like I genuinely thought we were going to see Vitality Falcons.
I thought so too.
And then
NA Monkey Moon.
Yeah. They've been cooking. NA Monkey Moon should have been the final boss. It should have been.
That's kind of what I thought too. Especially against Sunday Falcons. That's not necessarily a...
He would have picked up that win.
Yeah. But, so, Dignitas sweep Secret, and then NRG Falcons, or NRG Twisted Minds, maybe, in my eyes, like for NA fans, definitely series number 1 for the...
That's the best series of the weekend. Like, we're so glad we got that. We are so glad that series happened.
That's so close to me for Twisted KC too. Like, that's such a good... Like, Twisted definitely had the best storyline. Reverse sweeping Falcons, taking NRG to 7. Like, that's like what a phenomenal showing from Twisted Minds, Rise, and all them. That's a lot of momentum that they got going into EWC and Worlds, but good for NRG to be able to turn that around because they were down 3-1 and won 3 straight. Yeah. So, and including 2 overtime wins. So,
they didn't get a timeout from like 3-1 onward.
No, they took a timeout after game 2, and then they won game 3, and then lost 4, and then won 5, 6, 7. So.
We do have a new aura farm of Sathy, though, hitting that timeout. That's a slow motion aura farm gif of him just...
Yeah. So, phenomenal performance from NRG here after going down early, and then that sets up, like we said, Dignitas. They kind of boomed Vitality.
Yeah.
That was... Like, I never... Like, after game 2, I never really thought that Vitality had a chance to win that series, and they took game 4, but that is it.
Yeah, it's rough. And also, am I crazy to say, like, if Twisted Minds beats NRG there, like, Twisted Minds would have had a very good shot to win the major, because at least with Falcons, like, they know Falcons. They've scrimmed them a couple times in the days before. They would, like, help each other warm up. And I know Roas warmed up Nobu, so, like, they're familiar with each other, and Twisted Minds has beaten them in their region.
Yeah.
To win finals. Like, they might have, if they got over NRG, they could have very easily beat Falcons, and then I would have picked them over Dig. So, like, that they got top 6, but that very easily could have been like a grand final with just a little bit of a different outcome.
I mean, you're an overtime goal away from having an all MENA semifinal.
Yeah,
which is not something that I thought was going to happen coming into this event.
Mm-hmm.
But
this land top to bottom, surprises for the better, for the worse, but holy crap, what a land!
It was awesome.
One of my favorites of all time.
I wish some of the series had been a little closer. Like Saturday, for instance, Saturday, if Carmine Core doesn't get reverse swept, that Saturday would have been so boring because we would have shown up, watched Carmine Core slaughter Twisted Minds. We would have watched Team Secret upset Gentle Maze, be like, oh, what? And then we would have watched an 8-0 in uppers and just been bored.
Yeah.
But instead, we got drama.
Well, we got the show match.
Yeah, we did get the show match.
No, wait, was that Sunday or was that the Saturday?
Saturday. That was Saturday.
No, it was Sunday. It was to buy time for the semis on Sunday, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right.
Because teams had to play more than once, so they wanted to like re-even the playing field.
Yeah, the 1v1 was Saturday. I got that mixed up.
That's what it was.
But moving into our second semifinals match, we have Energy Falcons, in which Falcons won 4-2. That was an electric series, even though it like didn't appear in scoreline. It didn't go to 7, right? But it was like mostly 1-goal games. It was very close. There was an overtime game in there that Falcons took, and man, like knowing what we know now after watching the grand finals, that was a phenomenal showing for NRG.
Yeah, like NRG kept every single game within 1 goal except for 1, which is the best anyone played Falcons all tournament. And that's kind of why I was saying I have NRG second in the world right now. Like, I don't know, it's hard to scale Vitality and Dig with how good they did, but dude, this was the 2 best teams in the tournament in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like overall, because Dig, not Dig, well, Dig had stinkers every time they played Falcons. Other than that, played great, right? Vitality had a stinker against Dig, played great. Other than that, I don't think NRG had like a bad series. They just like played good teams. All of them were competitive, and then they lost to a tough Falcons team where if they win that game 5, maybe they win that series.
Yeah.
And like we would be talking about them as major champs, because that like was it 4-minute OT on that Aquadome. So I mean, very easily they could have been major champs.
Yeah. I mean, really, the only series that I could hear an argument made that they kind of didn't play very well was that 4-0 against Vitality, and like they'd fight back in the end of every game. But like if they had played a full 5 minutes every game, I think it's like probably a lot closer than it was.
Yeah, but that also wasn't like I mean, it wasn't like a elimination game.
Exactly, it was just
for
like
them.
Yeah, but
they didn't like back against the wall choke like a lot of teams did.
Yeah, and then moving into our grand finals, man, Dig win game 1 and Falcons take the rest, including 2 overtime games. But man, they just looked so good. Like Falcons just looked so good. They never really looked panicked. They never really looked like they were. They took it out of cruise control even, and first and foremost, a huge congratulations to all of them for bringing the first MENA major championship. Congratulations to Falcons for being one of the pioneers of MENA Rocket League, and the first non-NA or EU major champion, Team Falcons, and they are now 1-7 in championship in grand finals matchups in RLCS.
Shout out Falcons, man! They got it done. Shout out Insavic, old Falcons owner as well. He was he was part of Samurai Gaming, but dude, what a final! It felt like watching Infinity War when Endgame's already been announced, where you're just like, oh, dude, they're gonna win. Like we're already if there's worlds coming, like dude, it just felt inevitable. And then like every overtime just kind of started going their way, and a little bit more. And to be fair, Jory was Superman for about 2 minutes there, but not enough.
I mean, and like this is the tough part, right? Because like before, like had Falcons not won this event, where do you power rank them? Because I think on talent, they are a top 2 team, no questions.
Yeah.
But like they, before this, in RLCS, they've never been able to put it together for a full weekend. They, always seem to vanish on Sunday. But now that they got the monkey off their back, so to speak, now that they've got that major championship, I feel like it's hard not to power rank them 1.
Oh yeah. I don't think there's anyone out there putting a different team number 1 right now, or at least they shouldn't.
K-Corp? You don't still think K-Corp holds that? You don't think it was just a bad coaching decision or just like a rough patch? I feel.
Okay, if Falcons K-Corp play today, who would you pick?
K-Corp. I think it was just a bad strategy.
For every series?
Yes.
Fair.
I don't think it's a. I mean, before this, we were only talking about K Corp as Thanos. Like that's all we were
Yeah.
describing them as, an unbeatable beast.
Then they got beat
A
3 times.
Yes, and Falcons have been beaten a lot more.
Recency bias. Next question.
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, not like nothing has changed, right? It's still Falcons, it's still NRG, it's still K Corp, but like, I think now the only difference in the conversation is you actually have to legitimately pick Falcons as a threat because they've done it, they've done the damn thing.
I think no matter what happened, I think
that was not in any particular order. I'm just saying like those are in my top 3, top 4
maybe
teams.
I got K Core 4, maybe 5. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the recency bias does go hard, but they have won a major this season, and they did look phenomenal in Europe.
They didn't just win a major;
yeah.
they won 4 regionals, 5 regionals, 4 regionals.
Yeah,
4. Yeah.
They at least made all the regionals this time too.
That too.
Listen, if you ask me like win share of worlds, like who the highest percentage is, probably still put Carmine like 1 or 2. But power rankings, I'd probably only put them 4 or 5. Like they had a bad tournament. And it's not to say that they're not still one of the best teams in the world, but like you have to acknowledge results for what they are in the moment, and then it's like the ball's in their court to respond. Like they gotta adjust some stuff.
Yeah, true. But with that, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about, for at least for the results, for Swiss, for playoffs, for anything like that?
I just want to say it was a great weekend, a beyond memorable weekend, from top to bottom, from the whole entire lands to all the events after. Huge shout out to Nebby for hosting a great karaoke party. Everything about this land was so beyond memorable. It's going to be very hard to top it. Also the crowd, super underrated. You may have made fun of the size, but guess what? They were loud, especially on Championship Sunday. It was bumping in there. And to the EU guy that we'll go unnamed that hates on NA crowds, they stayed after and cheered for Falcons.
Yeah.
Stumpy.
Or we dropped his name.
Dude.
Down with.
I don't think there's a single British guy that likes NA crowds.
NA stayed.
Also, I would like to mention that none of them showed up either. None of them came to the LAN.
You guys and your little visa issues. Didn't see you guys in the crowd chanting, screaming even.
Yeah.
Blue Wall got denied. As did the what's it called?
The green suits?
Oh, I don't know what's the British flag called? It's
the
like
Union Jack.
The Union Jack, yep. Didn't make it over the border.
Didn't see that fly in after the game was over.
Oh yeah.
But
go NA.
We're gonna
nothing.
Oh yeah. We got a quick red list roster rumors to do. First and foremost, Shopify Rebellion announced the dropping of Parth, and it is announced that they will pick up Wavy for the last chance qualifier. NIP will move Itachi to the sub spot, although that kind of seems like it's Itachi's choice. It seems like he's going to pursue content creation and streaming as opposed to competitive Rocket League. And in his place, Ninjas in Pajamas have picked up the one and only former world champion, Radosin.
The GOAT.
Because that worked out so well for Gentlemates, I'm sure it will have the opposite effect for Ninjas. But also some rumblings that we are hearing around the Swiss Arena, the Swiss Abyss, whatever you want to call it. Ninjas in Pajamas may potentially play the LCQ in SAM, as it is a South American organization. So that is a potential possibility for that. I'm not sure, if it's been decided or if they are doing that, but we will certainly have that to look forward to for there. But as for now, that is all that has been announced or rumored. I'm sure there will be many more changes or team announcements coming up for last chance qualifiers. This is the opportunity for teams who did not qualify normally to have a spot in Worlds. So
yeah, it'll be interesting who goes where. Because like, does an NA team try and make a move to get down there? Because do they think they can go to? Because realistically, the favorite is probably who? Complexity to get that last spot.
probably.
I feel like if you're an NA team that you don't think you can beat Complexity, maybe you go down there. Maybe you take a risk. Would you rather play a newly formed NIP? Maybe
Or Corinthians, which has Raise Bull.
Yeah. Like, those aren't bad teams, but like, those are teams that have to figure it out. They have to put together a style and a new roster and do all this stuff. If you're already pretty established in NA and you just know you can't get over Complexity, go rent an Airbnb in Rio de Janeiro for, a little week party, play a tournament.
Yeah. But also, and Quilly started saying it, but we have quite a few thank yous to give out. First and foremost to Blast and to Abby for helping us, for putting on a great event, for helping us request all the interviews, for everything that they do to make it possible for this event to happen and for us to be able to go behind the scenes and see all of that. Truly an unforgettable experience, and we cannot thank them enough. To Widow and Nito for the invite to the kickoff party. A lot of fun to meet everyone, talk to everyone, even if it was like 200 degrees outside. To Nebby for including us in their plans for a couple of parties. To the RLCS talent, the players, the team staff, the casters for interacting with us, being very easy to talk to, very approachable, for posing for pictures, for reposting stuff on social media of ours, of just for the amount of fun that they bring, the amount of content that they generate for the scene. And, just for, as fans, being able to watch them, do what they do is awesome. And then lastly, to not to our fans for making it possible to go to these events, for interacting with us in the event, for taking stickers, for, retweeting and posting pictures, for being amazing. And then, last but certainly not least, to RLCS fans, right? Like, because without you guys, events like this don't happen. We don't get a chance to meet up with all of our, our strangers that, that we met online, and, all the content creators and people that we look up to, to Tryhouse, to Chief Beef, to Jamaican Coconut, to all the people, to Lethmere, to all the people that were there, that we said hi to, that said hi to us. Thank you again. And I cannot say enough good things about the scene, about the community, and about all the people that help make this possible. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts to you. I can't wait until the next NA LAN. I'm crossing my fingers for a Major 1 and a Worlds in NA next year. I don't know if that'll happen, but would love for it to happen so we can see everyone twice in 1 year. But we'll have to wait and see for that.
I also like to add being able to tell people I'm from Boost Over Ball and them saying, "Oh, I've heard of that before." Also, cool as hell to hear. Do you have the stickers on hand? I don't have the stickers on hand. Do we show the?
I didn't get to say that.
Mine's in my car.
You could have said that.
I could have said. I mean, technically
you had
loosely.
your media credentialed through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the sticker, but I do have this.
1 second. Gotta be one in here.
Yeah, let me get my media pass.
It is a laser etched Boost Over Ball wooden coaster.
I was gonna say, hold it a little bit more in the light so it renders. There you go.
There was not one in my backpack. Cold. It's in my car.
It's on my PC, which is in the corner over there with all the other.
That's it. Pick up the PC and carry it over.
My guitar looks almost exactly like yours, Quilly. Just realized.
Wait, I have it on my big ass speaker. Hold on.
Quilly, I can see you in the mirror. He's taking his pants off. All right, Boost Over Ball. What's up, guys? Just me here now. I just want to take this time and opportunity. That's a big speaker.
This is extra, and I know it. It's on this speaker, but
it's a good place to collect them. Oh, Quilly emerges from the closet.
Money spread.
He found him too. And I
go ahead.
His speaker.
Money.
Yeah, but so the stickers were a big fan. Quilly was right. People do mess with the cherry blossoms a lot. So we will have a t-shirt with similar inspired Japanese logos on them for sale on our website at very soon. So for people who want to buy that, that is something that will be there.
Thinking wet t-shirt contest next LAN.
I'm down.
Let's go. Me,
Winner-
KQ, Quilly, Red.
Winner gets a sticker.
Especially
gets a
if they
sticker?
keep hosting it in places that have like 90% humidity. I'm
I was
going
gonna
to
say,
die.
It's not a contest. It's like the only way I live.
It's just a
through
way
the
of
night.
life. Like we went outside to
It's a
interview
survival tactic.
like we went outside to interview some people, and you guys will see a lot of this content in the next, coming days or weeks, as we get it edited and get it out there for you. But we were interviewing people in line. We were going out taking pictures of Project Octane. We were outside 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
drenched, just dripping, and like we weren't even doing anything. We were just walking, existing.
It was literally like 100-yard walk, not even like 70 yards from like the exit, like the crew exit to where we were allowed to park our car. I got to my car sweating. Dude, this sucks. Like outdoor air conditioning. Who's with me?
Yeah.
We've got a big budget.
I mean, like we'd step outside of the Airbnb at like 8:30 in the morning to go to the venue, and it's like 90 degrees with 80% humidity. I'm like, what is this swamp? Where are we?
It sucks. Normally, I'm fine to like hang out by the car, talk like, oh, they went back in to grab something. Dude, if somebody left something in the house, the whole squad's going back in with you to wait. Like,
Yeah.
no one is waiting.
We're like, you're
Car
pre-starting your cars just to turn on the AC so it's not 200 degrees in the car. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous.
Thank goodness I was wearing black.
This is the first time I've had a car with remote start, and it was the most crucial thing to the entire trip was starting this car in advance before you get into a literal sauna of a vehicle.
It's bad because your car's black too. That thing was cooking.
Tinted windows and everything. It was
Yeah,
just absorbing all the heat.
tough.
Luckily, we survived though.
Oh
Somehow.
no.
Oh,
But
Hedge Solo had no working AC in his car. Bro, how did you do that?
yeah, windows down and a prayer, my boy.
Oh my
he actually hung
God.
ice cubes from strings in his car.
I was gonna say like just beg. Oh my gosh, imagine you get stuck at a red light for like a minute and you're
He just passes out.
melting. Just
Right turns
Help
only,
me.
so you don't have to wait at the traffic lights.
yeah.
Oh my God. That's brutal. But the last thing before we wrap up, what was your guys' favorite part of the LAN? Could be a game experience, could be an interaction with someone, could be anything. Quilly, you want to start us off?
As cocky as it's gonna sound, during the karaoke night, I sang Dancing Queen, and having Monkey Moon literally front row screaming Dancing Queen at the top of his lungs to me singing it was a generational moment just to see that visually.
You're an artist.
It's what I do. I was not definitely singing it like an artist. It might have been a song for the deaf.
Yeah. The blind leading the blind.
It wasn't serenading everyone with Pandy and Monkey Moon.
No.
Don't Stop Believing?
That was great. That was great, but the nerves of singing in front of all these people that barely even know who I am, and having Monkey Moon literally screaming it and just be like, "That's the greatest Rocket League player of all time, right there."
Yeah.
Singing my song, that technically not my song, but the song.
Yeah,
I'm singing,
you wrote that.
I wrote
You
that.
did that, King.
Snipes, what about you?
I didn't get to go to an after party, so
Is the answer not being on the main stage and get?
main stage is main stage, dude. I'm over it. It's whatever. No, main stage would definitely be up there, but in terms of like personal enjoyment, because first and foremost, I'm just a Rocket League buff. So like off-camera conversations with pros was probably my favorite part. Of just like things were kind of tense in the media room, like a lot of not like scripted. Obviously they're scripted, but like very kind of like formal,
Very structured.
going through the motions, like interviews, and just being able to talk to them off camera about just like stuff we're not going to ask them on camera, and just like kind of relating to them on like a people level is like super cool. Just like they're people. I think Atomic said I asked good questions, and I was like, dude, hell yeah, just go in RG. Like, I'll take that. Yeah, just like getting to talk to people casually is awesome.
I think us talking to Sathy was amazing. Obviously, Snipes got the chance to talk to Monkey Moon and friends, so we still to this day we can't even fact check what they talked about. Like they could have just been smack talking to us the whole time. But
I was
what
gonna
we do
say.
know is our conversation with Sathy. He was one of the most nice and personable people to
Mhm.
speak to off camera.
Yeah. All of the energy guys are like super nice. we did an interview with Sathu for like 6 minutes. We probably talked to him off camera for like double that. Same thing with Atomic and Beast Mode, or just like talking about the series and moments and like, oh, you guys wouldn't have seen it, but like this was happening in the crowd during this one section, or like, did you guys hear this chant? And just them like giving instant feedback. It's so cool to be able to like weave through the pro and the media and the crowd side of things. And it's not something you can do otherwise. You're kind of just wondering.
Yeah.
Which is it's a unique perspective for going to lands, and it's definitely like a high I'll never get down from, or like never not prefer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like such a cool experience, right? Because like at the core of it, like we're all fans first and foremost, right? Like we play Rocket League, we're fans of the Pro Rocket League, and so now like we just basically get to ask the questions that we've wanted to know, like from pros, which is kind of cool, and you get to talk to them, you know, away from some of the cameras and away from some of the structure of like the media stuff, and like. I mean, we spent, you know, like the person we probably talked to the most was LeafX, just because like he wasn't doing anything during the series, like because he was stage hosting the Swiss. Like man knows ball, man has the script, and is genuinely like one of the nicest and funniest people that I've met. Like,
yeah,
just seeing the way that they all interact, seeing the way that, you know, Dazarin was like peeking around. I have some pictures of Dazarin peeking around like the curtain, trying to get Herc and CJ to break and laugh a little bit. Like, you know, just kind of the like the human side of all the people that you see, you know, on the stream and playing, like getting to know them on a human level is super cool, and something that, you know, like to this day, like going to some of those parties, watching getting rickrolled by Monkey Moon, like getting to, you know, people were playing poker at one of the after parties, and like it's like one of the like imposter syndrome moments. You're like, what am I doing here? Like how have this how have people let me be here? Like what is happening?
Yeah, you don't want to get a big head, but then it's also just like you want to absorb the moment and like see it for as cool as it is. I mean, dude, it's not even like an ego thing where it's like, oh, the media pass is great, like you guys wouldn't get it. It's like, dude, the experience is awesome. It's not about like a pass or a badge or anything. And I don't know, it's
I mean, don't get me wrong, the badge still looks cool as hell though.
Yeah, I'm keeping the badge.
Yeah, especially the talent one too. Got to keep that.
Talent wise, like one of
both,
maybe 12. No, I just have the talent one. But how many talent badges were walking around? Like
not a lot.
Caster's desk and then me.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, because they had like player manager badges, they had like team badges, stuff like that. So they like specified more than they usually do. But like, I mean, definitely like this badge, some pictures, and like, you know, my Raleigh Major like card stock.
The cards you I didn't even get one. I forgot to get one for myself. All I know is I probably like I funneled like 8 of those like a day into the media room, and then I'd like put them down and somebody would just take them. I was so bad. I'd be like, oh, sweet, a card I can. And then K-Cube took one. I was like, that's fine. I'll go get another one. And I brought another one back. Like for the
I only have the one. I don't know where the rest went.
Somebody's been eating those cards. Somebody was a hungry hippo in that room.
It took a while to get that food fed to us, so I think maybe that paper diet.
On cards.
Also, shout out Alex.
Oh yeah. Like, never got me my pair though.
We have
or my pack.
I gotta do it in the light. Gotta do it in the light.
Oh, did we not?
They
get
have
the T-Bait Sig
cards. No, we did not. But like T-Baits, we got Vatira, we have Drawley, Chaussette is a crazy one, and a Beast Mode. So I mean, and you know, NRG was giving out packs. Shout out to Talo for getting the God pack off rip. That's crazy.
I stole 2 of those, by the way. They got left at the B&B. I stole 2 of them. They're in my bag.
2 of the cards?
Yeah.
I think one of them's mine. By all means.
Hold up. I can definitely.
But man, yeah, they each NRG pack was full of NRG players and moments, and they all had like a hollow or like a foil card. And the God pack had all of them foil, and Talo got it off rip. And like the people at the NRG stand were like, wait a minute, can we see that? We've actually never seen the God pack actually, and you just like opened it, you know, before people were even let in on Saturday. But
I think they took a picture of it.
They did.
They posted it.
They did. I don't know if they did or not. That'd be funny if they did. But also another thing that we probably should have mentioned like earlier in the show, and I'm just like so confused by, is why was there only one merch stand?
Cheetos.
Lack
big
of
win.
Merch to sell. I don't know if we should be saying this because RLCS may never let us back again, but like the merchandise options for the past 2 years have been slacking.
Super
I
disappointing.
don't remember the one in Boston at all.
And the dig towel, the dig towel.
The dig towel. But yeah, the options weren't that big, but also one merch stand, which pretty much held up everyone for the entire first day.
I was gonna say it was like 300 people long.
They sold out by like 1 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah,
I was
and
gonna
it
say,
held
I
up
went
so
like
many
Saturday
people.
afternoon, like, yo, what do y'all got left? They're like,
Water bottle and foam finger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
find
They need
this.
to listen when they see my merch drop. They should hire this mind for merchandise because
I just
let me cook.
wow, throw pink flowers on everything.
Pretty much,
That one's
dude.
special. I want to get to
Who
dragon. I get to
doesn't
blue
funk
dragon.
with cherry blossom?
You get a pink
Yeah.
dragon. You get a pink dragon.
Like, all right,
Everybody
Quilly,
gets a cherry blossom.
All right, Quilly, we like your ideas, but this is the 12th Japanese design in a row.
I was gonna say, I literally, hey, you're not wrong though. I got a sweatshirt with cherry blossoms on it, so it works. I just don't get like, there's got to be some way they can set up a deal, like with the teams to be like, hey, dude, just send us like 300 shirts each or something, or like for the big teams, like for the NA orgs, like, hey, can you send 400 shirts, and then we will like cover the shipping back to you if they don't sell or something.
I mean, I kind of, someone mentioned to me, they were like, why don't they just do like pre-sale? Like you can buy them beforehand and then they know how many that they're supposed to bring. Like they'll bring a couple extras for people who didn't pre-sale buy them, but like, because like there are people who
logistically like, it makes no sense of like, dude, it's a gold farm and like people buy it and wear it. Like how many version 1 shirts did you see from like 3 years ago when those things were sold? Like people
and when they were giving them out even too.
Yes.
I mean, look here, I'll make your point for you.
Like people love merch, and it's one of those things. Yeah, I'm not gonna wear my NRG jersey walking down my hometown, but like when I go to an event, like rep my team, do all this stuff, and like buying it at the venue is part of the experience. And it's like, oh, why don't you buy it online? It's like, yeah, because I don't want to pay $30 in shipping or whatever it is, and like
you gotta wait for it on top of it.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's gonna get there in time, and then like just send your merch to the venues. Let us buy stuff.
Like when they released merch for the Birmingham Major, I didn't want to buy any of the Birmingham Major merch because I'm like, I didn't go. I'm not gonna buy it if I didn't go.
Yeah.
But I bought like the regular RLCS branded stuff. I got a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, and it took over a month to get here.
That's like
over a month.
I promise you, every single team that has brought merch to a LAN has sold out. Because like
the space station, like the camo ones right here from Dallas, were gone in like an hour, if that.
And it's like, if you're one of these big orgs, dude, sell your stuff. Sell, like, please send. Like, if NRG had sent 1,000 jerseys to that stadium, they would have sold out.
Gone, 15 minutes.
That's $90,000 right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's profit.
I mean,
there.
just look at how quickly they ran out of the dig towels, right? And that was at one booth in one part of the arena.
I was gonna say, I got there early. There's like, you want a free towel? Yep. Gone. Came back 15 minutes later. No towels.
Unironically, that is one of the biggest perks of the media pass, right? Because we like went on Saturday, like as early as they let us in, like at 9 a.m. We got all the merch we wanted. We grabbed a dig towel. We put everything back up in the room, and we went and got the content that we needed for the day. But then, like, we went down at like 10:15, and the merch line was like 600 people long, and I'm like, oh god, like these people aren't gonna get what they need. Like, there's just not enough.
Can you imagine waiting in line for like 2 hours? So they're sold out.
Missing that KC Twisted series. People are like, why is the venue so empty? I'm like, it's not empty. They're just waiting in line for merch and at the NRG booth to 1v1 Garrett.
It's not even the lack of merch. It's also the fact that there was only one stand for all of the merch. It was not.
Yeah.
It was not a well-oiled machine in that front. Definitely hurt the crowd impact, especially for that amazing opening series.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much of that is just like they don't have enough product to have two open or something, or like.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you don't want to, like, they don't want to ship all the stuff that they don't sell back, right? Obviously, it ended up not being anything, but, like, I mean, man.
You'd rather be short on, like, the custom stuff, like the Raleigh-specific merch. You'd rather, take whatever your prediction is, a little bit less, and then make sure you sell out. But, like, the team stuff, dude.
Just make the
If you
teams
go on the Space
responsible for
Station-
it.
If you go on the Space Station store right now, that jersey's still up there. That's their Worlds jersey. Like, worst case, you ship it back and you just have a stockpile of an extra like 50 of a few different sizes.
You can do them for giveaways then
And
too.
Yeah. Giveaways are just next time it's ordered, be like, oh, well, we don't have to make that. We already have it.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm sure there will be more conversations. We have a lot of Rocket League left still this season. We have last chance qualifiers, we have World Championships, we have Esports World Cup. There's going to be a couple other tournaments, I'm sure, that pop up from between now and then. But, you know, we don't want to steal all of our content. I'm sure we'll talk more about excuse me. We'll talk more about Raleigh, our experience. You know, we'll continue to post pictures, videos, interviews, content that we've gotten. You know, all that stuff will be available shortly. You know, thank you to everyone again for making this a truly unforgettable experience. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to say on this episode? This is one of our longest. This will be one of our longest episodes that we've done. We're over an hour and a half now.
I feel like we still missed some stuff.
Oh,
'cause
for
there's
sure.
Just this weekend was so words can express like how busy of a weekend this is. That like literally we are 4 days later and still physically trying
Tired.
to recuperate
Yeah.
from this. So much happened. We met so many people. We gave out so many stickers. It truly was a special time, and obviously I don't want to. I don't want it to come across like media badges, like everything to us, but like the stuff that we get to do from this, and it's all due to everyone watching. So we're very appreciative of this ability and the honor of getting to do it. But we all do it just to make content to produce for you guys. So it's truly an amazing thing, and I'm very grateful for the experience and sharing it.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. And you know, I think we'll be back at you guys on Monday at our normal time next week. And you know, I'm thinking we should do a big Q&A. If anybody has any questions that you want to ask us about our experience, about the event, about Rocket League, about anything, like please feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or in our Discord. I'm sure I'll make a post over the weekend, over the holiday weekend that you know, we'll be looking for all of that stuff. So if you have those, feel free to, you know, let us know. We'd be happy to answer them, and I'm curious to see what people would ask. But, you know, also before we wrap up for today, we'd like to wish, you know, a little bit of a belated Happy Canada Day to all of our Canadian listeners. Happy Independence Day to all of our American listeners. Hopefully everyone has a fantastic weekend, and we will talk to everyone again on Monday, live on Twitch. This episode will go live on the 4th in the morning at 8 a.m., just like it normally does. And but with that, thank you all so much for listening. This podcast is proudly brought to you by our name level supporters on Patreon, which is Alyssa B. Please remember to rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, share the show, tell a friend. It all helps us grow our audience and improve the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitch, which we're currently live streaming on right now. We also have a LinkedIn because we're professional over here. Come join our Discord. Come talk some ball. Come talk rock. Please make sure to support us by checking out our merch store and our Patreon, as this is how we will fund the show and do giveaways in the future. All of these links and more can be found on boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website at boostoverball.com.